Okay, so today, Westmount Auto Shop, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to lift up a vehicle and remove a wheel. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to crack the wheel nuts. So for that, I'm going to use a breaker bar with the right size socket. Okay, so I'm going to use a 19 mil on this Ford Escape. Common sizes, 19 mil, 3/4, 21 mil, 7/8. So if you're working on an import, you might have a 17 mil. Okay, so I'm going to use my breaker bar. I'm going to go ahead and crack my wheel nuts. So I want to crack them in a star pattern. I only want to loosen them about half a turn. Okay. Try to work parallel to the floor. Okay. And there you have it. Okay, so they're all cracked loose. Now it's time to lift the vehicle. Okay. What I want you to notice too is I've already wheel chalked the left rear of the vehicle to keep the vehicle stationary, keep it from moving. Okay. What I want to do now, I'm going to use my hydraulic jack. I'm going to slide it into place underneath the frame rail, and I'm going to go ahead and lift it. Okay. So what I want to do is lift it up nice and high. So I have a few inches of clearance, tires up off the ground. Okay. I'm going to use my safety stand here now. I'm going to put it in place to support the weight. You never want to work on a vehicle that's only supported by a hydraulic jack. Okay, so one other thing too is when I place my stand, it's always a good idea to have this handle facing towards you. Just makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to really put yourself in harm's way when you're removing it. Okay? So I'm going to put it in place. Now what I want to do is slowly lower the vehicle so that the weight is resting on the hydraulic or the safety stand. Okay? Alright, lower that down. Now I'm ready to go ahead and remove my wheel. Okay, so now I'm ready to remove my wheel. I'm going to get rid of the breaker bar. I'm going to use a speed handle, okay? Speeds things up. The wheel nuts now are loose, so they should spin off nice and easily. Just like whenever I loosen with the breaker bar, I'm going to do it in a star pattern. It's just a good habit that you want to start to form, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, spin the wheel nuts. In a star pattern just to loosen, okay? They should thread on and off nice and easy. If you have an issue here, it could be due to some cross-threading, so just make sure you look at the wheel nuts if you have a little bit of tension when you're removing them. Okay? So now I can take my wheel off. All right, giving me access to the front brakes. You've got your brake rotor, your brake caliper, caliper bracket, your ABS sensor for anti-lock brakes. You've got your flex hose here. So just a little bit of review. Once the tire's off, okay, you just want to give it a quick inspection, looking at the tread, any weird wear patterns, okay, and looking how many wheel weights do I have to see maybe the condition of the tire. All right. A good thing to do too is so you don't lose the wheel nuts, they don't get kicked by another student, or you know, you're working, pulling an air hose, they'll get knocked out of the way. I just like to put them right beside the safety stand. Just a good practice so you don't lose any parts, okay? Okay, so you're done your tire rotation or your brake inspection. It's time to put the tire back on the vehicle. Okay, what you want to do is you want to look at the wheel studs, all right? Look at how they're oriented so that when you bring your rim over, you want to line them up the same way, okay? I'm going to grab my rim. Okay, looking at the wheel studs, bring my rim over. What I want to do is just kind of line them up so that all I have to do is lift them up, okay, and put them in place. All right, just like so. I can leave the wheel hang there for now on the studs. What I'm going to do now is I want to go ahead and install my wheel nuts. All right, what you want to do here is obviously you want to start them by hand. Give it a few threads each. All right, they should spin on nice and easy, a couple of turns just to avoid cross-threading any wheel studs and wheel nuts. In the case of wheel bolts like you have on some imports, it's a little bit more work, a little bit trickier. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm just going to use my speed handle and I want to bottom them out. I don't have to tighten anything, I just want to snug things up. And I'm going to do that again in a star pattern. Okay? Sometimes get stuck. So bottom them out in a star pattern just to secure the rim. I'm not worried about torquing the wheel nuts until I get the tire back down on the ground. Okay? So now that it's all snugged up, I can go ahead, lift up the hydraulic jack, remove my jack stand, and bring the vehicle back down on the ground. Okay? So I want to check placement again. Still in the right spot. I'm going to go ahead, lift up the vehicle so that there's a little bit of clearance on my hydraulic jack with the jack stand to the frame. Okay? Clear check. I want to lower the vehicle down. Okay? Just like so. So the vehicle's weight is back down on the ground. Okay, so now that the vehicle's back on the ground, I'm going to use my 1/2-inch torque wrench and I'm going to go ahead and torque the wheel nuts. Okay? So the first thing I need to do, I need to set my torque wrench to my spec, which is 90 foot-pounds. Okay, so I pull down on this collar, rotate the handle until I get to 90, line up the 0. Okay? I'm going to go ahead, take the socket off of the speed handle, fit it onto my torque wrench. Okay? What I want to do now is very simple. I want to go ahead and tighten the wheel nuts until they make this clicking sound. Okay? I want to apply even pressure to all 5 of the wheel nuts so that the wheel's not going to go anywhere. Okay? So working in a star pattern, I want to work with the torque wrench parallel to the floor. So basically all I have to do is push down with my body weight. I don't really have to have any muscles here, which is good because I'm not very strong. Okay? So I've torqued them in a star pattern. One thing that I like to do, a good habit to get into, is just go around in a circle afterwards with the torque wrench to double check the wheel nuts, make sure you didn't miss any. Okay? So again, I'm going to go ahead, double check my torque by going around in a circle. Okay? And I'm back to the original one. I know that they're all tight. There's no concerns or issues now. I've done my job properly.